Today, I will start like talking about something unusual that we talk about publicly, especially for product managers, because we usually are reputed with the engineering team to build something, but also in real life we build, but also we sunset things that we think it's actually a need to take this decision for several reasons that we will go through together today. But I will share with you today like the best practices, but not that I will share my personal experience, right? um, and mainly I will tackle that for products in general, because sunsetting a product or a feature, it's still you are impacting customers. So this is Dora. I'm a product lead at AWS. I previously worked for Trivago, Tesco, and also Group, and I'm based in Berlin, Germany. So the agenda today is like why we do sunset a product, when to sunset a product, how, and how to actually how to sunset, but the most important, how to measure to make sure that actually this is a success, the risks that I mitigated through this process. I will share a few use cases from the market in the last 5 years and also my story. I wanted to open this actually with a quick question. If you are here working on product field or also in engineering field, did you even retire any product in the past in your career? Ask yourself that question, or at least if you did not, like, did your company do that? And also try to memorize or remember any product or company name that they retired actually product in the market in the last 5 years, so that by the end of this presentation we will see together if this is really something common, or just because it's the unspoken we didn't realize that it's common actually. So how to sunset product? So why to sunset product? So I tried to summarize the 5 reasons that I heard about, or that other colleagues experienced it, or actually it was my personal experience, right? So the first reason that by far is the most actually used is the low adoption or usage. So the companies today realize when it's actually time that if you have a low adoption or user for a specific feature or product, actually it's time to move to something else and try to see where you can shine more than actually what, like, invest more time and money in optimizing that. And we will see more the use cases. Obsolete technology, actually today the IT is moving so fast, and some companies decide to build new products from scratch with new technologies. Like in my previous company, actually we had to rebuild everything from scratch on microservices, so we literally had a new e-commerce build instead of the old one. So they want to really move toward new technologies. Also, we have strategic shifts, especially for way big companies that they have several products and they are managing a huge portfolio of products. So they move their shift based on the priorities and based on their financial goal. So they decide, okay, this is not fitting anymore our vision, and we think it's not needed anymore to invest in this product or features. Performance or quality issues, this is really less that I heard about, I will say, because usually we always have plan how to make things better, but for small features sometimes it's even optimal to do this sunsetting. And finally, merger or acquisitions. If you had any startup experience, for sure you will know about this, right? Mergers and acquisitions are hectic and can end into, actually you have to make a decision if you want to keep this product or merge it literally into the new like with the existing product, and by the end sunset that product. So those are more or less the 5 like reasons that they are the most common in the market. So when to take that decision? Each time, like I hear this question. Like I even had last week actually someone asking me, because they are going through this journey, when to know that's the momentous, when to know really that I need to sunset that product or features. Actually, this question is really hard to answer, and you need to convince yourself before convincing your stakeholders or your entire team and company. So it's a lot of thinking from the product side, because product will be the first person who will actually start having that doubt if they want to really sunset this, and start thinking. And how I process this is that always gather your thoughts in one place and try to use data and data and data, right? Nothing more important than data. So the first things is actually to collect your performance metrics. So if you have any performance metrics that you are tracking, make sure that you have enough view of the history, and really ask yourself if this is actually, is performance is my issue, is really the performance of this feature or product is the problem. And once you gather that actually data, document it, and start also do market analysis. So this is really really important, because you need to know if as a product or as a company I will lose like a feature or a product, how I will be positioned against my competitors, right? Am I really losing a huge market opportunity, or actually like that's a trend and my competitors also are not going in that direction? So it's good that when you are talking to, like, with stakeholders and any leadership board that you have, that you have the right argument to use, because you will be asked about that. Strategic alignment, it's always also good to see in which direction your company is going, and your product in which direction is going, and if this feature or if that product is aligned with that strategic direction. And that might be actually your answer, that you don't feel that you are aligned anymore with that vision, and that you need to make this hard decision. um, Identify customer impact, because in this situation customers will be impacted, and it's not like 100 customers, like million of customers. So check actually how customers will be impacted. And always I recommend to have your trusted circle of customers, the friends, that they are customers that you test so often new features with. Try to have them actually have a meeting with them and hear what they think about this product or feature, and see if they see it useful or not. Do they Are they using it massively as before or not? How the usage decreased over time? How they see this feature? How they evaluate it? Is it really something that they see the interest in? Of course, when we will say sunsetting a product or a feature, if you have any legal like commitments, you need to check that, especially that have with like customers with subscriptions, with contracts. You need to go. Actually, the legal team is your best friend in this situation. You need to go and make sure that you discuss together and see how this will impact them legally, and what's your duty against like this. As for example, like we will see in the use cases later, that there is always a very large period of time between when companies announce any sunsetting and when they literally start executing that sunsetting, because of this legal commitment. And feedback and strategic and stakeholders input. So this part actually is the last part. So as soon as you go through all those you do all your homework as a product manager and your research, you will start actually collecting feedback and start sharing this data and your thinking with a small circle, and enlarge that circle slowly and collect feedback and incorporate feedbacks, because that you will it will not be taken positively in the beginning, but data is your key, and that's why I was insisting in this. So now the hardest part. The hardest part is not the decision, more than start executing that plan, because it's not something that, like implementing a product or a feature, that approximately how much it will take you in terms of time and effort. This is something, sunsetting products more precisely, because it's really huge. It will take you time, depending on how customers are feeling, depending on how the first steps of your plan are going. So you will be really in construction work. You will be really adjusting your sunsetting timeline almost every week, to make sure that you are doing the right thing, and that you are giving customers enough time, but also that you are sure about every step that you have. So of course, as any other like project that you have, you need a timeline, and you need a timeline that is really tailored to the sunsetting, not a timeline like, because in the beginning it was hard for me to digest like the differences. I was trying to make milestones and making like showing this positive, but it's actually different. It's another nature of project that you are working on. And this project timeline, it's more about your execution in general, like when are you announcing, when you will start the sunsetting, how long customers can have to retrieve their data, what's your legal obligations from when to when. And there is another timeline, which is the communication timeline, where you will start communicating to customers into like with in really depending on your how big is the product, but also if it's a feature. For example, for big products, you need to send them every month updates reminding them about the sunsetting timeline and date, communicating to them any updates or information that they need to know. And of course, when we say sunsetting a product more precisely, you cannot just announce that to the customers without providing them a plan B. And this plan B, it can be actually that you are providing them an alternative internally in your company. For example, in the case of acquisition or in case of strategic shift, for sure you have something that customers can use internally in the company. But also in this situation, you even go deeper and recommend partners and external third parties, right? So recommend them like this and make this information really visible, because you will help them to faster their offboarding and have this really a smooth process and less painful. And that's your duty, actually. It's not like here it's like a red line and there is competition. No, here there is the interest of the customers and you are trying just to ease the customer's pain. Of course, also in this situation, you will work a lot on customer support and data management, which means like who will be the contact person for customers in case their offboarding is not going well, how they can share their feeling and feedback with you, because you will hear some frustration from customers. And data management, which is like how much like this data that they have like in your tool or in your product, how long they have in front of them to really retrieve the data, right? And this all this feedback that will be shared with you from customers, you need really to monitor it and have build your own framework how actually you structure this feedback that you are receiving, from sharing the first time the news with the small circle to making this public information, and monitor it in a way that it's really less painful for customer, more clear communication. It's a learning process. Like your first communication is not as clear and intuitive as your last communication. And also share this information with the stakeholders, the leadership team, anyone who is involved on this. Um, of course, the last step, which is closer and evaluation, it's not because we are sunsetting a product, we are not celebrating that. Because if you are doing it properly without impacting the customer really badly and without having a negative publicity, you are as a team able to celebrate this. And you need to share your learnings and really do a retro, because this is a unique experience. I'm sure that in my network, not many product managers went through this. So sharing this is actually something that making other people conscious about, yeah, actually this is a possible direction that I can do, and I should not be afraid from doing that, because we have public references now available in the internet. Like the as any other like project that you are working on, you will be measuring, right? But I will say it's less sophisticated, this sunsetting. That's at least one positive point, because you will mainly just measure two things, like the user feedback that you are receiving and the metrics, migration metrics, how many customers are offboarding, who are asking for extension for certain circumstances. Like it's really less sophisticated. You don't need that those charts and dashboards. Actually, it's really few metrics, but they have a huge value as they progress. Of course, anything has risks, right? And the risks to mitigate in sunsetting products are really huge risks, because they put even the company's name on, the company's reputation on the game, right? So you need really to make sure that customers are always, not, I will not say happy, but you need to listen to the customer and try to understand how to ease their pain. Maybe their pain would be eased by just referring them to a third party that can help them with the offboarding, or maybe by just listening to them and explain more the timeline to them, and accommodate any possible extensions if you can afford that. And this will lead to the second item. Actually, this will help you to avoid negative publicity, because especially for big names, like in key players in the market, they will be they will do everything to avoid any negative publicity, especially in those situations. Employees moral, right? So when you are talking, like working with a team, like they are not building, actually they are kind of like um, removing something that maybe even they contributed to build since day one. It's not easy. You need to make sure that the team is motivated. You need always as a team to have your daily things, and make sure that you are talking openly about this, sharing honest feedback, and motivate each other, because this is not few months process. As I said, in the majority of the cases it will be a year or more. So the team needs to be aware that this is just a step that we are going through, even if we are not building something, but this is adding value to our company and helping our company to grow in the right direction. So use cases. Now, if you took some time in the beginning to let's say think about few names. I added four names that I hope, like, people here, we don't have really that gap in the age. Like, we heard about them, right, at some point. So Google Inbox, actually, for people who used it, I didn't use it, to be honest, but I heard about it. And it was deprecated. So it was announced in 2018, but deprecated after, I think, 2 years. Also, Adobe Flash Player for the Adobe lovers. So they announced the deprecation in 2015, and it took them 3 years actually to finish that and end the support. And as I said, like, as big is the product or the company, or as important is the feature that you are sunsetting, it's not easy to do it overnight. So it's really, you cannot turn the light one day, and you cannot really just pretend that you didn't offer that service, because you have commitment. Before that, it's a legal commitment, it's a moral commitment between the company and the customers. Of course, Google Plus, I think this is not really unknown. So Google Plus did not really have that I will say that success as expected from Google, and the deprecation was announced in 2018, and I think it was turned off officially, like not really like last year or the year before, if I'm not wrong. Windows Live Messenger service also. So I tried to bring in examples from different companies to really show you that this is not reflecting that that company is not successful, or that the company is not doing the right thing. It's all under the code of, you know build fast, kill fast, right? So try always to not be emotionally attached to what you are building, and criticize yourself first. What you are delivering, is it really adding the right value that customers are expecting? Is it actually, do I have another opportunity in my product or in my company that I can spend the same time and energy and money to deliver something that will add more value than what I'm doing today? So always think from it not as a failure, because it's not a failure. It's not like a mistake. None of this actually it's happening. Anything has its own time. Like, if you see the cameras before 10 years ago are not the one today. Even like iPhone was released, it's not like today. Everything progressed, and it's normal that we build better versions, and this is what companies are doing. And I'm happy that in the market today people are more open about talking about this. It's really more common now that when you Google this, or if you are a chat gpt person, as we were talking about AI in the previous session, you can ask chat gpt and ask him about actually the sunsetting that happened the last 5 years and how that impacted the market and the customers, and you will see how this is a tailored process but kind of well defined through time. So I will share now my experience. So my experience for sunsetting a service or a product was really unexpected. So when I started it, I was in the beginning really thinking deeply about it. Is it really the right thing to do in my career? But I realized when I was talking with stakeholders and talking with my team that this is something that is adding value, which means that it's something that you are doing both as a product. I built the products and I'm now building a product, but also I sunsetted the product. So you have the 360 overview of the product life cycle. And it was something, a journey that had ups and downs, but overall it was a very, very interesting journey that I learned a lot from. The first thing is that you never ever talk about the decision of sunsetting something before that you have the right data, and you know like who are the right people to talk about this, because as I said, people can take this discussion to different directions and it can be negatively discussed and impacting the team. So it's really good to be sure about what are you using in your arguments and with whom you are talking. And also, I learned a lot about customers. I never talked to customers as I talked when sunsetting a product, because you will have so many, like 10, 15 customer calls per week in your calendar, and you will start hearing different opinions. You will discover even customers who are expecting actually that this service or this feature will be sunsetted, and they were expecting that. And customers are really smart, so they inspired us a lot in building the alternative solution that they are transitioning to. So I was really happy that I had several rounds of testing with customers and interviewing them to really build the next replacement for them. But also I prepared myself emotionally that customers will reject, like some of them will reject the alternative that I'm offering, but I used that as a learning, because I was asking them where are they moving, and I was using that data to really see to see how to optimize the alternative that I offered and how to make that a better version to compete with other solutions that customers preferred at certain time a certain time during this experience. Yeah, so this is more or less. Please feel free to ask your questions. I finished also a little bit early. Maybe I was speaking fast, but feel free to ask your questions. And also, like if you have any other question after the session, feel free to message me also in LinkedIn.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dora. That was a great overview of it. It's an incredibly important topic, because you do have to recognize that sometimes products don't work as you expected, and holding on to them and dragging on for too long is doing damage. So hopefully people out
Yeah,
there recognize
it's
the
just
importance.
losing time, money, and energy.
Exactly. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, we've got some comments coming in with RIP Flash and Magento 1.9 took around 5 years to sunset, but Magento 2 is a totally new product. So people are kind of seeing the pain that they've experienced already. But if you have any questions, please do post them in and we'll ask them through to Dora. One thing, and I guess it's becoming almost a meme on the internet, how Google likes to kill products. And two of your four examples were killed by Google. So like I've been burnt with it with Google Reader, with Google Plus, with Google Domains, with Google kind of with Photos, their brand accounts now recently. So just different things that keep getting killed. Does it like, so I've heard a lot of people say they don't trust Google Cloud now because they're worried that something that they build on top of might get sunset, because Google's quite quick to kill things. So is there a risk that you could be damaging your brand and people start losing trust in your products because features they rely on start getting cut?
Actually, I would answer this question differently after experiencing this, right? We always analyze, it's like I know, unfortunately, we analyze titles, but we do not get into the details, right? I was a customer of Google for a few of those products, and always I read the email carefully, right? If you read the email, you will find actually the reasons, but also you will find what they are proposing you, right? Um, I will say, like I do not agree to this reputation first because, according to me, like smart companies, they build fast and kill fast,
Yeah.
right? And you see the competition in the IT world today is really huge, and like everything is moving fast. So they need to make sure all the companies are making sure that they are providing the right product that that they can offer and guarantee continuity. So any product that you are using today, you might actually ask yourself, if you are doing the right thing on just relying on that thing, or you have a plan B. Anything that you have today. Imagine if we wake up tomorrow and the iCloud is not working, is not there anymore. What we will do with our iPhones, right? So you need always to make sure that especially for people using clouds, cloud, it's really making sure that you are using the right thing that is fitting your need and requirement, but also that you trust the brand, because no one will kill something massive as Google Cloud without providing the right steps and alternatives. That's for sure. But I will say that for Google Cloud, it's not the case as other products, right? For Google Plus or something, it was like a B2C, right, experience. But for Google Cloud, it's mostly B2B, so it has other dimensions and other complexity that I'm sure Google will not really put any risk there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a cash cow for them. So hopefully that's enough to keep their services alive. One of the other things was you mentioned using user feedback as one of your metrics. Now I'm just thinking your user feedback is not going to be positive at the start. So how do you use that as a metric when it's kind of veering negative? And how do you track that? Like, because you might be able to pull it back a little bit, but I'm sure people are still going to be upset.
Yes, actually, communication is the key there. So, if you remember in the one of the slides, I were insisting on splitting your project timeline or deprecation timeline and your communication timeline, right? Because communication will be your key in easing this pain that the customer is going through. First thing is that the way that you are communicating, right? You will make sure that your wording in the monthly emails or weekly emails that you are sending to customers becoming more like adjusted to this feedback. If people are so like the first weeks they were super angry, later they started asking constructive questions, later they started asking their plans and asking for our feedback. So you will see this progress. The second thing, it's better that they say those aggressive things and feedback to you than saying them publicly. So you are like, I always say it's like you are having a teenager and you are trying to have all the teenager ups and downs happening in your house, not outside in the street, not in the school or high school, right? So that's really important. And by the way, you will get very extreme feedback, but also you will get surprising feedbacks. I got feedback like, "Oh, really? Finally, you are doing it. We were expecting this like a good period of time." It was like, "Okay, now we can speak the same language, right?" Customer communication is the key, like arranging like round tables, private calls, especially for the one that they, in the beginning, the first days after the email, they will see just black screen, right? They will not accept even to discuss things, but slowly they will get to discussion and helping them and offering like offer them things, right? Offer them vouchers, offer them like any like budget to help them to migrate to other alternatives, because after all it was your decision, but you will not really let the customer pay the bill for this decision fully, right?
Excellent. All right, well, that brings us to time. So thank you once again, Dora. That was really great angle, because it is something that we don't talk about enough. We always talk about creating, but you also have to see the end of
Yeah.
life of some products and features as well.
Thank you so much for this session.